Thanks for staying with us. So, Honorable Yakubu Barde, representing Chikun, Kajuru Federal Constituency of Kaduna State, has called on the federal government to legalize the use of guns as a result of insecurity in the country. According to him, every Nigerian should have a gun just like people have mobile phones, so that whenever they are faced with threats, they can be able to defend themselves. Now, we have with him Honorable Barde with us on the studio. Good morning, sir. Are you there?
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. Good, good. Good to have you on the show. We are quite concerned, especially about the Kajuru local government. So much has been happening lately. The emir was recently kidnapped with 10 members of his family. That's where the 145 pupils of Bethel High School were kidnapped. There's a lot of farmers are scared. Why is your community so attractive to these bandits? What's going on over there?
Yeah, I thank you for this privilege. I think what's happening in my constituency is because my local government, they have people and Kajuru are closer with the town. And you agree with me, every development is tilting towards my local government. Now, what has made it very attractive, I want to guess, is because of its closeness to town, and because we have a lot of arable land where a lot of people farm. The bandits have found these areas to be very good abode for them to hide, so that when they want to strike in the town, they have a close distance or a short distance. And with what happened when they kidnapped the area and the Bethel Baptist students, it was easy for them to take away these people because the response time between a distress call and the implementation of the security to come is too big, or let me say the response time is too long, and the bandits are able to cut away with whoever they have kidnapped.
Yeah, Honorable Yakubu Barde. So recently you asked the federal government to legalize the use of guns because of the way insecurity is, rife in almost every part of the country. Don't you think that is a little bit extreme, knowing the sort of people we are?
Yes, challenges like this, when a country is saying we have to take drastic and unpopular decisions. I said we should legalize guns, maybe because of the frustration I was feeling. When I went to Angwan, India, where they kidnapped nearly 15 people, what they told me was, Oga, if we had guns, those people would have killed them. Because if the entire Angwan India comes out and everybody has a gun, they will have dispersed those invaders or those bandits. And you see, when people are frustrated, immediate help which is affordable or which is available is what they resort to. Of course, we don't solve a problem by bringing another problem. Even America wants to have what we call gun control. Before we do that, in Nigeria, legalizing the gun, I believe certain things have to be put in place. We have to make sure that we capture data of every Nigerian so that if you commit a crime, you'll be easily traced through electronic mail or intelligence.
Right.
But that as it may, if the bandits can freely get guns and they use them illegally, what do you want the helpless Nigerians to do?
Right. Okay, go ahead.
What do you want them to do? So and they don't get the protection from the security which are paid by the taxpayers' money.
Right.
Is the license of gun the only solution? You're from Kaduna State. The provisions of the Constitution allows that the state is taken over and, peace is restored, and then maybe we have the state of emergency then revoked. why are we not resorting to other constitutional solutions rather than, you know, gun running? I personally don't support self-help. I think we've seen enough jungle justice.
I didn't mention God in isolation, that's the only solution we have.
Okay.
I only mentioned it as one of the means that people feel they can protect themselves. Now, that is me. You agree with me, I'm an advocate of negotiation. But I'm not an advocate of ransom payment, just like my governor said. I don't think we should embolden or empower these bandits by giving them money.
Yeah, I agree.
But there's nothing wrong in negotiation. If we can know the leadership, the government is able to reach out to them and know their grievances. It should be a stick and carrot approach.
Right.
Because anybody who wants to make peace, the government should be able to say, let's have peace. And if the person doesn't want peace, the government has the mind to subdue them, except we don't want to do it.
Right.
Honorable Barde, I'm happy that you restated your stance concerning ransom payment. And sometimes I feel like we're not being sensitive to the plight of citizens that you're representing who had the misfortune of being in an insecure environment. No fault of theirs. We will blame it on the government's inability to protect them. And now they've fallen into the cracks of having their children kidnapped. And the government that did not protect them beforehand is saying that they can go and die, literally, because we've lost about 5 children who were killed because the ransoms were not paid. So I'm wondering, how do you sleep at night, knowing that representatives from your area, people you are representing, they're the reason you are getting paid, they're the reason you are working. They are unable to sleep with their eyes closed in their environment. And they are watching you right now. They are waiting to hear what you will say to them. How are you feeling? That's one. Number 2, sir, is it that our intelligence cannot trace money when paid to them? Is it that when you pay the ransom, that money disappears from the face of the earth? Is it not possible to have the codes and have banks and have people trace that money and always find who spent the money?
Thank you. That's a very intelligent question, especially the last one you asked. Because I've advocated in several forums that except the government is hiding something, or we are not serious, or paying lip service to this matter of insecurity. I give you an instance, which I did mention in the press conference I did with the press school of the National Assembly. When Abuja Airport was closed, and people were being freighted from Abuja to Kaduna, or from Kaduna to Abuja to catch flight. Did you ever hear a single incident of that vehicle stopped and VIP were kidnapped? Every sensible person will ask that question. Because nothing happened that time. That period. It's like the bandit suddenly disappeared. Why? Is it because VIP were going by road? Now, that's a question for every reasonable person to ask. Now you said, how am I feeling? My sister, I am saddened. I wept when I went to Kajuru. I wept because that kid, the emir that was kidnapped, he's 80-something years old. I know him. I know him as far back as 1992. 92. When I was a local government chairman in Insecurity, he was one of the district heads. That was as far back as 1997. So he's a father to me. And I know how fragile the health situation was at that time in 60s. I can only pray, because I know he will not get his medication in the forest. He had a grandson who was just a year old. I'm a parent. You think I have peace?
Let me go.
If I have peace, then I'm not human. I remember when there was, I've come every day. In fact, the trauma I suffered the day the Bethel Baptist students were taken. A woman called me as early as 8 a.m. I didn't have her number. And the question she asked me, Honorable, so we have voted you for our children to be killed, to be kidnapped? If you were my shoe, what answer will you give her?
Let me go on a quick break, sir. When I come back, we'll continue this conversation with you. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Thank you. All right.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We still have Honorable Yakubu Barde with us, representing Chikun Kajuru Federal Constituency of Kaduna State. Honorable, we obviously are quite concerned, just as you are, of what the state of happenings. Even the PDP said that there should be a state of emergency. People are worried that the governor seems somewhat helpless. I mean, what solutions do you think we can prefer here? I mean, some are saying that can we arm vigilante groups across the state? We don't have enough security operatives to deploy to that state. But can we engage members of the community and arm them, you know, to have them across the state? Because your state and constituency is obviously a huge attraction to these people. What suggestions are you preferring to the governor at this time?
Yes, to the government, let me rather say, not to the governor, because I understand the frustration of the governor, because, like we always say, the governor are assumed to be the chief security officers of their state. But the CP does not take instruction directly from the governor. He waits on his IGP, that is Inspector General of the Police. Likewise, the commanding officers who are in various commissions in Kaduna, they went for their GOC to give instruction, and the GOC takes instruction from the Chief of Army Staff. Likewise with the other services, Army, Air Force, and Navy. Now, that as it may, you agree with me that the governor would not have it the way they really want, because they don't have absolute control over this military establishment. So that makes the issue of vigilante and state policing very, very important. Because whatever and however we look at it, these vigilantes are in the community. They know the terrain better than any police is put from any place. So for me, it's one of the ways to go.
Let me follow up.
Number two,
let me pause you for a second. You're a member of the National Assembly. We keep hearing it as past second readings that say, what is taking so long for this to be passed? This issue of state policing what's the delay? What's the delay?
No, I think we don't have a problem. We are all unanimous now in having state police.
Yes.
Because the issue here, if you want to pass a law, you must have the consent of the people who have to implement it. Before now, you know there was this discontent caused by the governor whether to have state police or not. So whatever law we pass, we must look at the practicability of implementing it. So now that the governor, I think they are now unanimous in having state police, and I think Mr. President also has seen the light that we should have it. So for that, we don't have a problem. I think it will be passed very soon.
Hey.
Now, yes, we don't have a problem because the governors that will implement it are willing to do so, and the state house of assembly are willing to fund the police of each state.
Okay.
Now, one of the solutions which I think we need to have is that if we cannot prevent the kidnapping of our children or our people, can we make kidnapping business unattractive? And how do we do that? Can we make sure that they are not able to spend that money? Okay, they start away with hundreds of millions, 50 million. I ask this simple question. When have you ever caught a bandit with even 5 million naira? It means like my sister asked previously.
Follow the money, yeah.
The money goes back to the town. So they have collaborators among both politicians and even the military. That is just the truth. So the commander-in-chief must use all resources available to him to fish out these collaborators. Is the bandit who is drinking dirty water, sleeping in a shattered environment, what will he buy with 10 million naira? So who does he take it to? I have had incidents where a bandit will tell you that he was only paid maybe 50,000 naira or 20,000 naira for kidnapping people. So why are these people untouchable? Why can't they be fished out? Are we really serious? Okay, if we lack the resources to fish them out, let's ask for foreign assistance.
Right. Okay. Let me.
A white man, an American was kidnapped. one life. Through intelligence, they were able to take him. They rescued him from the hand of the bandits.
So as it is now,
don't we share intelligence with the international community?
the chief security officer of the state does not call the shot when it comes to security in the state. It's still the president that has to call the shot. So we have, like I asked earlier, provisions that we must resort to when the situation gets out of hand like it is now. We have 200 and something children with not released, and now they picked up an emir and his entire family that you know is even closer to you. Don't you think now we should have the military take over Kaduna State, restore peace before we go back to democracy in that state under Section 305 of our Constitution?
Anyway, I won't call for security to take over, but I will call for more deployment of security personnel to
where are they going to find them from?
That doesn't work, sir.
Yes.
That hasn't worked so far, sir. So I feel like we need to call a spade a spade. That if we've said that the governor cannot fully secure the people because he is not in charge of the security apparatus, why don't we have a state of emergency so that we can know who we are holding accountable? Because if we call governor will say, CP does not report to me, the military does not report to me. So in between all of that cracks, lives have been lost, sir.
Schools are shutting down. Lives are, in
so
fact, the state
let us have a state of emergency
chaos.
and have the military fully take over. And let's see who we will blame. And we can directly blame the military for not handling issues over there.
Anyway, it's the call some people will make, but personally, I'm a Democrat. I believe in having a constitutionally imposed governance. And if we have to go by means of emergency, anyway, I don't have all the knowledge at my disposal to know how well the military can perform under that situation, which they are not doing now. So that's where I have a problem. Because if they have the way or how to do it, what is hindering them now? Because the governor and we here will want to do everything possible to make sure that our children are rescued. So what's happening that they cannot do it now? Why? Oh, they don't have to take over the government.
Let me get a few more questions in for you, sir.
Honorable Barde. So, you know, a lot of people have been speaking about the insecurity in Kaduna State, and the Middle Belt Forum had spoken, expressed concern. And one of the things they highlighted is the fact that the kidnappers are infuriated with the governor's utterances. And that is why they are trying to make that place a really hotbed to get him to pay the ransom he's saying he's not paying. What do you think about it? Could it be because he's speaking up and saying no to ransom payment?
My sister, for me, the governor Erufai needs all the help because he's bold enough to take in their presence. If the day governors will look weak, a weakling before this bandit, we are all done. Do we expect Mr. Governor to come out and say, oh, I'm going to pay ransom to the bandits? Oh, then there's no governor. Somebody must be able to speak the truth. What we need to do is to prevent it happening. That's just it. But paying ransom for me, no. But let's all know that these parents are paying ransom today for no fault of theirs. I can say it categorically, I've helped a lot of people to pay ransom. So I feel the pain. I feel the pain.
Right. Let me go.
I cannot afford to see anybody's child die. If I have billions of naira, I want to help. But again, the flip side of it is, will you not be empowering the bandits the more?
Right.
Of recent in Novi, they were able to go with armor personnel carrier and rocket propelled grenade. That is very dangerous.
Let me go on a quick break again. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation with you. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We still have Honorable Yakubu Barde with us. Right, so before the break, Tokwe had a question. Go ahead, please.
Sir, so hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you very well.
Okay, so I listen to a lot of our leaders based on this show. We ask questions, and there's this sense of helplessness, sense of, I want to do more. I really want to do more. And I've usually just challenged that. before you go into political office, you know that there are problems, like you're supposed to come with solutions, and then we have many smart Nigerians that you can work with to help you come up with a domestic solution for the problems you're facing. What are the people, who are the people you've consulted within your community? How has your investigation within the community, what result have you gotten? What solutions have they given you on how to better secure themselves?
Thank you. Like I always say, the security of the people, number one, is like joint security because they have a responsibility to themselves. But let me tell you, with time, people get overwhelmed. I remember before, when this issue of insecurity started, it started like it was cattle rustling. And when the people realized that cattle rustling were not bringing enough money, or the cattle were no longer available, and because they have become used to stolen money, they now went into the kidnapping of people. Now, I will tell you, with all sincerity, some people who are very gullible within the communities have also joined them. That's just the truth. And that's a very unfortunate incident. I will tell you an incident where a young man within the community connived with the bandits to come and kidnap the person who sold the property. And he even told the kidnappers how much he sold the property. And they kidnapped him and they asked him exactly that amount that he got by selling that property. Wow. Now, you see, this is a very dangerous trend. Because if we have insiders who are conniving with them, then I think solution is far-fetched. We are not very close to it. That as it may, like I always say, the world today works on intelligence. It works with technology. There is no individual that should be more powerful than a state or a country. No group of individuals. Except if we are treating this bandit with no sense. If, like I said now, I said in different fora, these children that were kidnapped, from Kalapanzi Barrack to where the children were, without traffic, maximum is 15 minutes for the military to get there. Now, I've asked the military, and they will tell you that if they attack, those children will be killed. That's very true. Nobody would like his child to be killed. But is that attacking? Is it the only solution? Can we demobilize all of them using technology? Then we go pick them up? Demobilize the people that kidnap, demobilize the people that adopted the bandits. They all go to sleep. Then you pick them up. Right. Why is it not happening?
Honorable Barde, let me express my confusion and frustration because I get the fact that many of our leaders seem helpless. I mean, understandably so. However, you know, in other climes, when things like this happen, we see a united parliament, or I would say maybe the lawmaking arm, where they take the decision, they take the bull by the horn, which is one of which is some will even consider impeachment. Some will consider, we are told for the service chiefs, they did that. Did we give them time? Have we reviewed what they've done so far? The point is that you are our representation. Those people I see in those pictures, they are trusting and believing that you are fighting for them. And by so doing, it's either we're saying, you know what, this administration or this presidency is not doing what we want them to do. What tools do you have at your disposal as a lawmaker? And is there a disunity or unity between those of you and your colleagues to ensure that, listen, if they cannot fix it on the lower level, from the top we can fix this problem? I mean, is there something from you that can do from the National Assembly level?
Because your answers sound like you're like us, citizens, but you are more powerful than us. You're a representative.
My sisters, let me be very, very honest with you. I think I always say I wish somebody would love this country. People in leadership, I don't want to exonerate myself, but do we have sincerity in governing this country? Do we really have? simple thing like religion, simple thing like ethnicity will make some of us to be not to be loyal to the country, not be taught to be patriotic to the country. I will tell you, I've seen frustration among my peers where logic overtakes everything. Simple thing that we can be united. Somebody will tell you, no, Mr. President is from my religion, Mr. President is from my section, or no, he's from my party. I think it's very unfortunate, and I'll tell you, I personally feel that frustration. Because if you don't have unanimity in taking action, then there can be no solution. We'll be divided. I relate well, let me put it this way, I relate well with my governor. I talk to him because he is my governor. We are not from the same party. But I give him suggestions that I know will help keep Kaduna State in peace. The little knowledge I have. But in different stratum of leadership, you see that we have people who will tell you that, no, he is my tribe.
All right.
So anything he does,
let me take a few
correct.
comments on our online messages. Go ahead, Bidima. Go ahead, please.
I just lost my message.
Oh, you lost
Okay,
it.
before you
earlier
do that,
topics.
I wanted to ask you, Honorable Barde, aside from the fact that students are being abducted almost on a daily in Kaduna State, the farmers as well are not able to go to the farms. And the fear is famine is very, close. If it's not happening right now in Kaduna, is there anything you're doing, the National Assembly is doing about how they can protect the farmers so that at least we don't jump from one problem to another?
We are not robbing. We are not cutting the problem from the root. Rather, we are cutting from the bud. That's just it. I put it this way. When we say, okay, every day we pass motion, we say, give palliative, give food to them. I mean, have we solved the problem? We haven't. But of course, temporarily, somebody who is out of his house, he has been displaced, he has no home, he has no food, he has no clothes. The first thing you want to do for him is to give him food. And these are the palliative we are giving, which are not deep-rooted solution at all. So, for me, like I keep on saying, we are not truthful to ourselves, even in leadership, to make sure that our country is secure.
All right, let me take
like
a
I told you, I have different views about, I have listened to people, and most of the time, we allow partisans, party difference to overtake national interest, or religious interest to overtake national interest, or ethnic interest to overtake national interest. Is that how we are going to live?
Let me take a few comments from you.
So your Dushola says, about issues in Kaduna, our leaders' priorities are still being misplaced. In this same Kaduna, I have seen heavy weapons used in escorting Mopo commandants and some politicians in the state with men that are supposed to secure citizens of the state. Festus Akibuewa said, is it not so backward to the extent that electronic transmission of votes would work? And Lundume's argument is not tenable. Anita now says, declare a state of emergency. That seems to be the best solution for now, talking about Kaduna. And Baya Adenegu says, if the North is not ready, regions that are ready should be allowed to move on. The North may join in electronic transmissions whenever they are ready. It is unfair to hold developments of others because one is not ready.
All right, we have to wrap up with you, sir, because, I must acknowledge that we've had a lot of lawmakers come on our show, but you have been one of the most sincere that we've spoken to in a very long time. And we can feel the pulse of your frustration. However, unfortunately, it's not enough because the people would always say, you are there because we voted you in. So as we wrap up with you, what is that thing you'd like us to know as a lawmaker that is being done, especially concerning Kajuru local government, to restore safety back to those people?
I moved a motion last week about the issue of these children that were adopted. And of course, I just call on the government to help our people. Deployment of more security personnel, despite the fact I know that commanders in the various arm of the security agencies have told me that they are undermanned. But that's all I need to do. But again, I will tell you that vigilantes in my area are doing well. The only problem they have is to have weapons, a minimal amount of weapons that they can use. And I think that has to do with the state law. And I'm talking with my House of Assembly members that if the governor comes up with something like that, I think some minimal amount of equipment or arms should be given to this vigilante. I think that is where we can start from.
Then one more thing, sir. Sheikh Gumi seems to have an inroad to these bandits. I mean, he talks to them. They seem to see him as a godfather to who they tell all their issues. They need the government to talk to them on issues of health, stuff like that. Have you engaged Sheikh Gumi? Maybe he can speak to the bandits, especially those in the those who are coming to the Kajuru local government area.
I'm telling you, some of the parents are doing that, and he has been up and doing about how to go about releasing them. The only problem I have with Sheikh Gumi's approach is when he said that they should be given money. I take exception at that. It's only out of frustration that I will help a parent to rescue his or her child from the hands of their doctors. It's out of frustration because instead of a life to be lost, I would rather pay and let's rescue their life. But that as it may, I'll continue to say, if I am a governor today, and truly Sheikh Gumi has an in-route to this head of this bandit, there is nothing wrong in engaging them and making sure that their grievances are listened to, as long as it does not compromise the sovereignty of Nigeria. Why won't we do it? That is it.
Thank you very much.
If their demands are things that the government can do, why not? We should.
Thank you very much, Honorable Yakubu. I think I'll let you go at this point. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. It was a pleasure having you and hearing your thoughts on this issue. So we're coming back to the ladies now. I'd like to take some messages on YouTube and other Facebook, because, as I said, just like Tokwe said earlier, that some of our leaders sound just as frustrated as we are. And we felt that, okay, they have the solution, or maybe they don't, they're just not implementing the ideas. But it seems that they're not totally united in this thing. They have various factions who have different loyalties and...
There's a message that captures that. Onyewu Maria Azomta said, since our representative came to dish out advice, I believe our representative should be talking to the wrong people. He should be talking to his colleagues, not us. And I think that this is, I sort of felt this way in the beginning, because I was like, I had to ask him that, but you are in the position of, you are in the hallowed chamber.
Let's be fair.
Yes.
He's one person. There's only so much you can do as a lawmaker.
Do anything
as
one person.
Exactly.
Yes, you need to work together. And I don't know why they have the house.
The saying of the prophets, I don't want to, Salam says, if you see a bad thing, you change it by your hand. That is, you fight it. If you cannot, you speak against it. If you cannot, just hate it alone in your heart. So he's at that point, that's the weakest link, where you just hate it, but you can't do anything. But I think as a lawmaker, the least you can do is speak against it. Not
like Jibril did last time, when they go.
No matter where you're well, it's better to be heard that you spoke against it. Promise Nation says, the electronic voting won't work. The card reader technology is yet to work normal. Many were unable to get their card read by the card reader. Definitely, we are still far from using technology like electronic voting.
So we went to sleep after the last elections.
We went to sleep.
We said it here. That a few years to a few months to still come back and still
Let me take this call from Yakubu. Yakubu, are you there?
I'm there.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, thank you very much. And good morning to you on the studio. I totally agree with you. This honorable that you just spoke to now is the best sincere person that this studio have ever spoken to in recent times. Listen to him, you know this man says the truth, nothing but the truth. And then about declaring of state of emergency in Kaduna State, I totally disagree with that for reasons. The reason being that if it declares state of emergency in that very particular state, and then the military take over, Morayo, I can tell you if that place is so rich for bandits, these people will move to another state. Are you going to declare state of emergency in another state? So you continue to declare state of emergency because these guys are very stupid and wicked. When the heat is so hit there, they will move from state to another state. So, and then the honorable said something something that is very, very so jammed, that these vigilantes, that you don't give weapon, and then you tell them to protect the villagers. How are they going to protect? Just like the Southwest Amoteku, that they are not giving them weapons. But I will tell you this, please do this for us. Send one of your crew to the OPC that got this man arrested in Gaza last time. If this guy tells you what they face in prison, Morayo will know that we are in soup in soup. Because this guy faced a lot of things for arresting that bandit that time. And then they got them arrested, and then they forget them in the prison. And then they beat them there. I listened to them on social media. I said, this country, wow. Even the DPOs in those various states, they liars with this kind of bandits, and then they get their own share. That is the truth. If you get those OPC people, Morayo, you will know what I'm talking about. Good morning.
Thank you very much, Yakubu. Comments on social media?
Adepoju says, I guess DSS jurisdiction doesn't cover Kaduna and other states where bandits are doing what they do.
They are in Dunamis Church.
Halimat Abdaziz says, the government has failed us woefully. Let's join hands to protect our lives and properties. Now, with Arrow, the government will always come up with one excuse or another. Oluwafemi Falaye says, think of its disadvantage of using guns by all humans. It has more harm than good, and let the government stand and do the needful with immediate effect. Andrew says, if the Nigerian government is wise, they need to bring in a Syrian, Liberian, and a Sierra Leonean to show or tell them what happened to their nation.
Wait, I don't think he's saying that. I mean, yes, he's suggesting for them to legalize arms. It's all out of frustration. Nobody really wants every citizen holding arms. But when he's talking to his citizens, when they're saying, listen, if these boys that came here, they're about 60, if we had guns, we would have defended ourselves. So he's a lawmaker speaking the voices of his people. But at the same time, we also need to take that in and see what else can we do to solve the problem, because you can't arm citizens. That's counterproductive.
It's like we don't want this democracy.
Honestly.
When we are ready to use them.
That's what I'm saying. So can we really be democratic? I think we're putting the cart before the horse.
The constitution that all of us are shouting that is not good, provided ways out of all this situation. Whenever it's necessary, we'll now start to play politics. We have to leave this thing called politics. People are dying every day. We can't be using sentiment to address
Nima, I have said it before. We all here talk about Singapore. Singapore was a dictator. Lee Kuan Yew was a dictator. So sometimes we talk of democracy, but at this point right now, we don't need a democracy. We may not need. Yes. Somebody has to come over with the iron hand. So you know what, this is what we're going to do at some point, because at this, we are trying to be democratic. You know, even our president was frustrated when he came. He said when he was a military, that certain things you have to follow due process. That he wished he would just had the declaration saying do this and do that. But now you have to go through the due process.
So I just feel that, you know, sometimes when you get really frustrated, you want the gun to be legalized. But I do not think, like he said, there are certain things that need to be put in place before that happens. And I do not think that it's every Nigerian that will be licensed to hold a gun. If you meet certain criteria, they can give you that. If you do anything wrong with the gun to kill somebody, you can be jailed for it. But I think we need to start looking at that sometimes, because these people who are coming, they are coming with their AK-47 and machines, and they are meeting vigilantes who have nothing. Is it arrow you want to use to kill somebody with AK-47?
We have to run, unfortunately, but thank you very much, ladies. We have to wrap up on this right now. We hope you learned a few things as we have. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.